The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of my Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video.
Come on, boys, get loud. 'Cause when the music starts bumping, the whole place will be jumping. It's my scene, you know what I mean.
Hey y'all, it's Harriana and I'm back with another video. I feel like something don't look right. Give me a second. Why do I look green? Like, I understand, like, I'm in front of a green wall, but I don't be looking this green now. But hey, let me get myself together. Hey y'all, it's Harriana. I'm back with another video. Hi, hello, how are you guys doing? My name is Harriana and welcome to or welcome back to the pirate ship, also known as Harry Hook's pirate ship. I am the captain. You are not my first mate. I don't got no first mate because you want to know why? Bring your ear closer to the speaker so you can hear me clearly. Nobody's worthy of being the first mate, but hi, hello, how are you guys doing? My name is Harriana and I like to make content based off nostalgia and family choices entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces. I just am in my sunglasses mood right now. These are the Audrey Bourgeois sunglasses from my shop, harryanahook.com, if anybody's interested. But I just have some thoughts and opinions that I want to elaborate on a little bit more from my unhinged breakdown of the Powerpuff Girls, because there was one particular person that I didn't feel comfortable speaking about because I didn't want to feel as if I said something offensive by accident and then people get upset with me by saying something offensive by accident. Because if I said something offensive, I will own up to it and apologize, because I have done that before numerous times in the past. But with this, it's like a mixed bag because I just see so many different opinions when it comes to this particular person. When it comes to being an ally, one thing that you have to do is, be a good listener. You need to sit and listen to the people within the community about how they feel about certain ways that they are depicted within the media. So when we have that aspect right there, that is just kind of why certain things I feel like is not best for me to speak on, because one, I am a cis black woman, so usually I do speak about issues that relate to misogyny overall, just womanhood, because I believe trans women are women. You will not hear me say anything else otherwise. I talk about overall issues when it comes to misogyny, but I have to, make sure I am very respectful when I do bring up issues that relate to trans women, because I'm not trans. That's why I have been watching a lot of Jessie Gender. For those of you guys who don't know who she is, you should. She is a transgender woman, and same with Ro Rambin. She is a transgender woman of color. Really do enjoy those creators right there, and I will have their channels linked down below if any of you guys are looking for some trans women to watch. So as I said, I want to do my part as an ally and make sure I engage with so many different kinds of content, because that helps me become educated on numerous different issues. And I remember Ethy Signifier had posted a video talking about how a lot of allies need to learn how to knock, where they don't need to overtalk communities and overspeak on them and this and that and the third, which I most definitely truly do understand. That is why so many of the issues that I talk about usually just have to do with the misogyny, misogynoir, because I'm a black woman, and then issues that relate to blackness. Those are mainly like what I choose to speak about. And then also other things that I have done within my life, like I've done cheerleading, I've done theater, overall I try to limit myself to my experiences and who I am as a person. I have been wanting to talk a little bit more about asexual representation and whatnot, but white ace people are mean, and I don't feel like dealing with y'all. So, but there is this one particular thing that I have had people ask me since 2020, you know, when more people started to know about my channel, that really did deeply concern them. And they were like, hey, I feel like somebody on YouTube really should speak up about it. And I feel like because you are, you know, how you are, I feel like you should talk about it. And let me tell you, when it comes to the character of him, the reason I just kind of don't say anything, because I have gotten messages about him here on YouTube. I've had people ask me about him on Instagram. I have had people ask me about him on other platforms that I have been on. I genuinely do not know what exactly can I say about him, because when it comes to the LGBT community regarding this character, I see so many different kinds of opinions, and it has gotten to the point where I feel as if I need to let someone who is transgender go in about how they feel about him, because it even is like a giant debate nowadays where people don't even know what pronouns to call him. Like, him is his name, but like, what's him's pronouns? Because a lot of people call him they, some people call him him, but then some people say she. A lot of people genuinely don't know what to say about him, because a lot of people don't want to feel as if they're overstepping their boundaries with being supportive of the trans community. But also, it's just kind of confusing in a sense, because we have a lot of people, not just the trans community, but the LGBTQ community overall, that truly do like him. Like, they really do enjoy this character. And then you have on the other side, you have people that can't stand him and they strongly despise him. And then there have been numerous people that called out the classic Powerpuff Girls because they felt as if him's character was both homophobic and transphobic, for the same reason why so many people strongly dislike Disney villains, because the Disney villains are usually gay coded characters, and you know the villain in the story are usually almost always portrayed in a negative light. That's just like where it is when it comes down to him's character. So when I had saw all of this going on, I was like, I don't want to upset anybody, because I don't want to accept anybody when it comes to, you know, a character that a lot of people resonate with, that some may see that isn't an issue. But then there are also a lot of people on the other hand that do have issues with him's character, because I had mentioned it before that numerous people were like coming at me saying that this character in particular really bothered them as they were gay and trans. But then I had other people saying that they actually really did enjoy him, and I was just like, I genuinely am lost right now. I literally don't know what to say. So I'm just gonna give an example of something that affects me, because I am a Black woman and I have, you know, experience it. I have noticed issues with this one particular character. Susie, in my opinion, as I have mentioned, that him is a character that I think needs to be left strictly to people that are a part of the LGBT community, that are way more open about their sexualities than me. I, on the other hand, can talk more about Susie's character, because I am a Black woman, and there may be a lot of Black women that disagree and agree with what I say about her, but then at the end of the day, I'm a Black woman, so my opinion still stands clear. When it comes to Susie's character, her character needed a lot of work, and I'm talking about specifically when it comes to her character in All Grown Up versus how she was in Rugrats, because so much of her character in All Grown Up just revolved around Angelica, or her feeling the need to be seen as perfect. They didn't even bother to animate a bonnet on her head when she went to bed. There's just so many concerning things when it comes to Susie's character. And when I say that she's not good representation, she's not, because she literally is just reduced down to the token Black kid of the series, and so much of the show treats her like a mammy towards Angelica. So much of Susie's storylines revolve around Angelica. So much of everything she does revolves around Angelica. And so much of it has to do with the fact that Angelica's not all that great to her. It's different when I talk about things that are like that in the sorts, because that's where I go. That is where I sit. That is where I am the affected party. When it comes to other marginalized groups too, just as well, oftentimes it's just kind of best to sit down and, you know, listen to what these people are saying. But then also at the same time, sometimes these videos aren't necessarily getting made until another creator, ally, talks about them. Because there's one thing in particular that I had spoken about that people were not too happy with me for talking about, simply because I was not an Indian person. I have made a few videos about the subject of how Disney treats its South Asian characters, and I know the video in particular that people were not happy with me for making had to be the one that I made talking about Jesse, and then I mentioned something about how Baljeet, that show did him dirty just as well. People were not happy with me when I made that because someone said you're not an Indian person, and mind you, I said South Asian because South Asian people overall are treated poorly within the American film industry, but they said you're not Indian, so this isn't really something that you should speak on. And hearing that, I was like, okay, you're right, because I'm not Indian and I'm a guest in that community. It's really important for me to sit down and listen to what these people have to say. But also, at the same time, I genuinely did not see anyone talking about this issue on YouTube in particular. I had not seen anyone bring up much of anything about how the way Jesse treated Robbie horribly. And then on top of that, I briefly mentioned Baljeet because I'm tired of people acting like that Phineas and Ferb did not treat that character terribly. They absolutely did. And then also how Disney Channel has a really big issue with how they treat just South Asian characters in general, and mention how it had gotten better, especially when it came to the movie A Spin, a movie about an Indian girl and her heritage, and it was very beautiful. So on that aspect, I'm like, yeah, I genuinely do want to talk about these things. And then also, I'm very aware of my audience. I'm very aware that a lot of you guys come from different backgrounds. And the reason I was able to learn this was from making different kinds of videos on different subjects, because I had South Asian supporters reach out to me and tell me thank you for making those videos. I've had people who are non-binary and trans tell me thank you for using gender neutral language when you are talking about like the subject of periods and whatnot. I have had Asian people reach out to me about certain things that I have talked about with their community and how they feel as if their representation isn't good enough. And I see a lot of you guys' comments. A lot of you guys do often request me to make videos about other marginalized groups, which are very important. And because like everyone deserves to be talked about. There's so many issues that go into family and children's entertainment beyond just issues that have to do with blackness and misogyny. And the reason why I feel more comfortable talking a little bit more about fat phobia, because I am someone who had an eating disorder growing up. I am someone that struggled deeply with body dysmorphia. So that is why I do talk a little bit more about fat phobia on there, as opposed to being a thin person, because I can understand certain aspects of it, and I had internalized it too growing up. And then every now and then I do come in here and talk about these other issues that relate to other communities. And I know one in particular, when it came to the subject of anti-Semitism, I had a friend who is Jewish help me make that video. And I understand reaching out to other creators to come in and help me with certain videos and whatnot, which is a good thing. But with him, there's just so many different swarming opinions when it comes to that character in particular, where I just truly feel like I may not be the best person to talk about this. I noticed that when it comes to like the subject of transphobia a lot lately, it has just kind of been very, very, very just hectic because of her. I don't even want to say her name because I'm just tired of that bitch. I'm so tired of that woman, and it just feels like the more she talks, the more everything seems to get worse on this and that and the third. You called me in the you called me in the middle of me making a video. No, girl, it's good. But I want to ask you a question right now because
Okay.
this is my.
I'm like 20 minutes away from my house, and I just needed someone to talk to because there was some.
Oh, girl, I'm gonna bleep that part out. But okay, so my best friend is on the phone. I have multiple best friends, but like my best friend that live in Florida. I have 2 best friends that live in Florida. I actually have 3. But anyway, this is Kayla. Say hey.
Hey, Kayla.
Yeah, and Kayla is a lot more open about her sexuality than I am. So I'm talking about this video that I'm recording right now. It is me basically talking about why I haven't talked about him from the Powerpuff Girls. You've seen the Powerpuff Girls, correct?
Yes, I have.
I was talking about the reason why I have not talked about him on my channel is because I have had people reach out to me and tell me that they think his character is deeply offensive, as if his character is very homophobic and transphobic. But then I've had other people say that they don't think he was too. So I'm just like, I don't know what to say, because on one half, I don't want to upset one group of people, but then on the other, I might upset somebody. So like I said, I am a guest when it comes to the trans community, and I really just fall into the subject of Ace when it comes to that. That's why I'm just like, what do you think of him for the most part?
I don't know. I do feel like we've had a history up until recently of using things that are seen as traditionally gay or traditionally just associated with the LGBTQ plus community as aspects for villains, because like Scar could be interpreted as gay, Ursula could be interpreted as a drag queen. There are so many instances of that happening.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that people who enjoy those characters are wrong for enjoying it and seeing themselves in it and liking the character. Like,
yeah.
I can definitely see that there are some offensive things about him, especially since it's the stereotypical representation of the devil as like a flamboyant, presumably queer person.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of questions there. But him is still a beloved character of the Powerpuff Girls, so I'm not going to knock anybody who decides to enjoy the character.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like it's a very nuanced subject, and since I'm bi, but I'm not like masculine presenting, nor have I personally identified with that character.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's just to each their own, as long as we recognize that there are problems with the portrayal of queerness when it comes to him, instead of just pretending that there was nothing wrong. It's fine.
Okay, because that's kind of like what I had said, because I remember when I mentioned about how like the Disney villains, why? Because people were saying that they didn't think it was an issue with the Disney villains being like, you know, gay coded. And I was like, I understand why you're saying that, and I understand, like, people love these characters. These are beloved characters by many. But then also, there's a lot of people who strongly dislike these characters because of the way they are portrayed. Because, you know, usually, you remember, like, back in the day, how usually the only time you would see a black person or in a film, they would be portrayed in a very negative light. And you know how Disney and Nickelodeon have a really bad issue of constantly only having the black characters within a piece of media be portrayed in a bad light. Like, I'd say Hannah Montana is very guilty for that just as well. And like, you know,
I feel like Lion King, unfortunately, is very guilty of that.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're lions, they're not like animals, but why is like consistently the lions with the darker skin fur portrayed as like the bad guys? Even in Lion King 2, even though Kofu has his little redemption arc or whatever, that always kind of, like, I kind of always side-eyed
Yeah, because it's just
visibly darker in the fur color, and people are like, oh, it's because they're coding him to be the bad guy, not coding him to be black. And I'm like,
it's just like
I'm not entirely sure about that, because it's not like he was just black and gray, because the hyenas were villains, and they were also black and gray.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like if he was a human interpretation, he would be black, and there's nothing wrong like that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But also, like, why? Like, what are they trying to say here?
Yeah, it's just like certain things I feel like people don't realize can be read to be as offensive in a sense. Because I had mentioned something about why people tend to think that Disney villains are offensive for being gay coded. And somebody was like, oh, the reason why so many, people who aren't straight and cis like these characters is because they felt like this is where they were seen. But then you have other people that are like, actually, this character has issues, because why is it that the only time we see people who are seen as other, they're portrayed in a negative light?
I feel like that also ties back to how Disney represents fat people.
I was just thinking that.
A couple of plus-size friends, and one of them is like, I can't stand Ursula. Ursula makes me so uncomfortable. And they're like, I understand that a lot of people like Ursula, but I don't, because they're like, I always grew up being bigger and seeing the only representation of me in a Disney movie being an evil sea witch did not do much for my self-esteem growing up.
I get that. Because the way that person feels about Ursula's character, that is how I feel when it comes to Miranda from As Told by Ginger. This was the only black girl within the series, and y'all literally have her portrayed as a damn she-devil, and I hated it. Like, I did not like the way that the only black girl within this show, that was amazing. It was beautiful. She was like the biggest bitch of them all.
And I feel like I also have other fat friends who love Ursula. I just think she's an absolute girl boss. So I really think it's to each person's interpretation and how they saw the character.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell someone that they're wrong because they think him is offensive or they think Ursula or Scar is offensive, and I'm not going to think that I'm more right than that.
Hey, you went out. Kelly went out.
You
You went out a little bit.
I said it's a very personal thing when it comes to representation like that, because there's not a lot of it, so everyone who sees it is going to interpret it a little bit differently.
I get that. I completely understand that. And like with Miranda's character, I really feel like timing had a lot to do with it too, because I was younger, like a teenager when I rewatched As Told by Ginger, and I was really irritated with the way she was portrayed. But then again, like I said, people interpret things differently, and it's just like how I got on the subject of this is because people were like, my followers that are part of the LGBTQ community, they were telling me how much they could not stand him because they felt that his overall character was rooted in transphobia and homophobia. But then,
I'm not saying that the character is not rooted in transphobia or homophobia.
Yeah, but like that's
that is up to the queer community to reclaim that, and if they want to reclaim him, go for it. But not everybody in the queer community feels comfortable reclaiming him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like how a lot of black people, we don't feel comfortable like with reclaiming certain black characters, because we were talking about them crows from Dumbo, and we were like, do y'all want to claim them characters? Hell no. No.
You will never catch me claiming Uncle Remus.
No.
I will die for his actor, because he was the first black man to be nominated for an Oscar and couldn't even show up because the Oscars were still segregated.
Yeah. There are certain things that I just can't reclaim because of how offensive they are to me as a black person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know some black people are uncomfortable reclaiming the N-word.
Yeah.
My dad, he doesn't say the N-word. He's like, that word was personally used against me when I was a kid growing up. I don't feel comfortable saying it to anybody else. And I'm like, that's fair. I say nigga all the time.
No, I kid you not, because I actually have followers that don't like the N-word, but then I have a whole bunch that say that shit all the time. So it's just like, to each his own. It's just like I said, I feel like it truly is up to the community, I'd say.
And I feel like we need to have a mutual respect for each other if they choose not to reclaim these things. feel like when certain people choose not to reclaim things, it's kind of seen as like internal hatred or whatever. It's not. Some people are just not comfortable reclaiming those things, and we need to accept that instead of trying to pressure them into reclaiming something and associating with something they're not comfortable with.
Oh, seriously. You know how I literally took Penny from Miraculous Ladybug? I was like, just show me how dirty. I'm grabbing her and fixing her. Y'all are not going to take this. The only time we see a grown black woman who is childless in the show, and y'all did that to her. No, I need to reclaim Nora, too, because I can't stand what this shit did to her.
I feel like it's personally happened to me being an autistic person where I've had people tell me that I needed to reclaim the R slur, that I needed to. That's my slur. I need to say it. I need to reclaim it. And I don't want to. I have no desire to say that slur. It was never personally used against me that I can remember. I don't know. I have the memory of a goldfish. But I just don't feel comfortable saying it. I don't feel referring to myself as it. I don't feel comfortable referring to other people as it, even though I am autistic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you please just respect that?
I understand that. It's just kind of like we gotta come to a middle ground. Okay, this one thing may be okay for you, but me, who is also an affected party, it does not feel okay with it.
Because minorities are not a monolith, and that's even when it comes to reclaiming things.
Yep. That's what I feel like. It's just allyship is just something that is you want to, because I was talking about earlier in here that a lot of people from different marginalized groups asked me to make videos on certain things, but I personally, because I'm not a member of that community, I don't want to say something and say that, oh, so and so is problematic for this reason, but then someone who is a part of that community will come out and be like, actually no. So it's just kind of when you're an ally, it's good to sit down and listen to these people, but then also at the same time it's I'm listening, but I'm I don't want to say something that offends one person.
Yeah, I am always an advocate for when it comes to discussing something in a community that you're not a part of, using your platform to uplift the voices of that community. If you're autistic coded, for example, instead of you doing the video by yourself, you bring on other autistic creators and give them a platform to discuss it. That's usually
the best way to go about it. If you don't know of something, bring somebody else on. But then that be leading to a lot of issues, because people be like, hey, I want to do this with you, and I'm just okay, and then it just be a whole bunch of hoopla. Y'all wonder why a lot of creators don't be wanting to do collabs? It's not because we don't want to talk about these issues. It's just so much can go wrong during a collaboration. Files get corrupted, stuff goes missing, sometimes you don't hear back from somebody. A collab is a whole deal, okay? Because there is just this one video that I have had in mind that I really do want to make. It's about regarding the Artist Alley, and I wanted to talk about the Artist Alley, but I wanted to interview people who actually worked in the Artist Alley. But then also I had to think of what is all of that gonna cost me? How long is this gonna take? Not even the time factor that goes into it. It's just is this person gonna bail on me? Are they gonna be here to help me? It's just a whole deal when it comes to collabs. And that's why, because collabs can be so kind of taxing, I'd say, because they take longer to create and they require so much more, and then so many things can go wrong with them. That's why we be hey, I am not a creator of this community, but I know of this one right here that talks about these issues, and I think you should go to them. Yeah, because I know when it comes to issues that relate to Asian American people, I be telling people, go watch Cheyenne's channel, because I can talk about them, but she can talk about them things much better than I can, because she actually is an Asian person.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
I'm not a part of that group. I always try to point people in the direction of someone that is in that group that has spoken about that issue before.
Yeah.
I would never want to take a place of authority for a community that I'm not a part of.
Yeah, that's how I felt with when it came to the character of him. because a lot of people know that I'm somebody that really loves like the Powerpuff Girls series, and a lot of people associate like Powerpuff Girls with me because they know I love it so much. And you know, Chemical X is literally the outro music for me. But it just,
you have like Powerpuff Girl lip gloss.
Oh yeah, I do. Absolutely, I love Powerpuff Girls. But I was just like, this is just one recurring thing that has to do with this series, and I genuinely don't even know how to answer it or go about it because I like am afraid of offending people. Or it's like I don't want to offend anybody. Like the thing about it is that I looked at why everybody was saying why they felt Hib's character was both homophobic and transphobic. But then I saw other people saying why they didn't feel that way. So then I was just like, okay, I don't want to upset anyone, so let me just hush. Yeah, sometimes like when it comes to the sake of like allyship, you don't want to say anything that hurts the affected party because you're like, oh.
What I learned about allyship is sometimes it's just best to keep your mouth shut and listen.
Yeah, because that's how I felt like when it came to him. And I was like, you know what? There'll most likely be a creator on YouTube that will make a video about him. But time has passed. We've got to be 3 years since people have asked me about that. And I haven't seen one. So I was just like, I don't want people to feel as if I'm ignoring this. Because this part of the reason why I don't really take requests anymore is because, like, one thing is, like, a lot of requests be video ideas I've already had. But, like, requests, it's just, like, you don't want to feel like you're letting someone down because you're ignoring the request. And this is, like, a request that I have had for years. And I don't want people feeling like I don't care about this community because I keep ignoring this topic. But on the other hand, it's just, like, I just want to make sure I'm being respectful and not upsetting anyone.
I learned about like keeping my mouth shut when it comes to allyship the hard way.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, this happened like last year. But remember when the whole controversy with the J fashion style Joji Fuku was going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you remember correctly, I had made an infographic post telling people not to wear Joji Fuku or use Joji Fuku based on misinformation that I had heard only from Western sources.
Yeah.
Only to find out from actual Asian people like Haruka, Haru777, and Christina, Evergirl, that Joji Fuku has nothing to do with nasty stuff. It is a recognized Harajuku fashion, and like in Japan, and like the West was just misinterpreting it. I was so quick to try and be like, I need to defend J fashion. I need to speak up. We can't say Joji Fuku is bad. That I completely overstepped my boundaries and spoke over actual Asian people who knew what was up.
Yep. I get that. That's why it's just like, hey, like, and usually it's like, because when people don't seem to understand, like, when it comes to allyship, another thing about being a good ally is that if you messed up, you gotta own up to it and apologize. Like, hey, I said something wrong. Thank you for letting me know. I took it down and I will do better. That's one thing a lot of...
Of course I didn't have bad intentions in sharing that post.
Yeah.
I thought that I was doing something good and educating people on why this thing was bad when there was really nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. And then the people kindly reached out to you. You were like, hey, some things are a little wrong here. And then you were like, oh, okay, I listened. Thank you. Like, it reminded me of, like, because somebody had said something about people be talking about they can't stand allyship because people get mad over this and that and the third by you making a mistake and all that. And I was like, it's not that. It's the fact that y'all don't want to say sorry and learn. Because I remember one thing in particular when it came to, like, somebody said something about you getting an argument about race with a white person online and they take Black Lives Matter out their bio. Somebody had said something, that's literally how they be. Like, you call them out and be like, hey, this is wrong, that's offensive, and then they'll be like, well, why are you acting this way? And then they'll be like, I'm done supporting this community. Y'all are mean. And I'm like, baby, that's not it. We just kind of told you.
Like, as a member of the J fashion community, I've had to learn how to just be quiet and humble myself and listen to actual Asian creators before making any jumps on what I do with my content, what I stand for, what I don't stand for. Because at the end of the day, no matter how
Yeah. That's exactly.
Good allyship can only do so much, and if you're a good ally listens and a good ally wants to hear the voices of the marginalized group they're supporting.
That's the thing, because people be like, because I straight up said the reason why I mainly just talk about issues regarding misogyny and, you know, misogynoir and just blackness is because I am a cis black woman. That's the experience I know. I was like, I would love to, like, you know, make more videos about other things, but I don't want to, because, you know, people know me because I talk about problematic shit relating to black girls and all that, and like children's media and cartoons and just animation. That's what people know me for here on this platform. I don't want people to know me for some issues that are, like, you know, for a community that I'm not a part of. Like, yeah, I will make content here and there for other marginalized groups, but I don't want people to come to me and be like, oh, this creator right here always talks about these issues. And while it is good to, you know, speak about other issues that don't affect you, because it's still ignorance and it's always wrong, on top of that, it's the fact that it's like, yeah, you're coming to me, but I'm not the affected party.
I was paying $50 for gas out here. Sorry, I'm at a gas station.
Oh, but I was just like, yeah, I understand that my videos had a reach here and you guys are watching it, but I deeply would appreciate if y'all went to this creator right here that makes videos about this stuff too. It's just kind of like,
right back. I need to give Herschel food.
oh, you gotta put gas in your car. Yeah, this video done gone on for like 40 minutes. So say bye, Kayla.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, bye, y'all. Thank you guys for watching. This video turned out differently. Goodbye.